Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to Stationeers. So, last episode we left off starting to pressurize I wouldn't say we are pressurizing the base, we sort of vacuum sealed the base. But I am going to continue that trend. So one thing I really want to do before I get any further is to add some storage to the base, because once we pressurize it, there's really not a good way to add storage after the fact. So I'm going to crank out a whole bunch of lockers and keep my iron rolling. So, the checklist of things for me to do this episode would be, well, let's see. Hidden Tipple mentioned something. The little escape, the vent that's over here that pulls air from the airlock, I need to rewire or repipe that a little bit. So that's another little micro project. I wouldn't say it's a really big one, but a little micro project that I can do as well. So I'm going to crank out some pipes. All right, we have enough for 2.5 big lockers. I always forget that I've moved all my stuff. I'm so used to there being my boxes of stuff behind these benches, but nope, not this time. I'm going to have to go far and wide for that. All right. So we're just going to let this crank out, how many more? 3 more? Do I want 3 more? I only want 2 more. All right, so we'll stop at 2 more. 5 big lockers should be a good haul, or 4 big ones and a small one, so on and so forth, something like that. That should be enough, I hope. All right, let's pop this into my backpack, my trusty backpack. And then we're going to pick up the other pipes. All right. And let's go in through the back here. Popping open the back. I'm going to vent out all the Martian air that I don't want. All right, so the issue with this setup, layout, whatever you want to call it, is that it is possible that the air that gets pushed out of here ends up going through these passive vents. Actually, you know what? This won't be an issue in the future. Yeah, this won't be an issue in the future because of the way I'm going to set up the atmospherics in the base. What is this, actually? Let me, yeah, it's just the passive vent. Okay. What passive vent? Oh, that's the pull passive. There, yeah, okay. I'm just brainstorming. So at the moment, yeah, that vents out to active vents here. I'm not actually sure that could be introduced into the base's atmo, because all of my passive vents are locked from the digital valves. So yeah, I think we're good. That's good. All right, so one thing I was going to do here is punch out some windows, because I am going to make a whole lot of changes to the base, and I don't want the windows to get in my way. So I suppose I'm not even going to fix that. That's not even an issue like I thought it was. But did I leave the door? Yeah, I did leave the door open. I know I'm introducing a micro amount of nitrogen as I jetpack around the base, but honestly, nitrogen's going to make up the majority of the atmo in my base, so introducing a little cold nitrogen is really not a problem. Alright, so false alarm, step 2. I gotta eat. So I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to start to pressurize the base. Now, the idea that I had to pressurize the base is going to significantly change. And this is due to the fact that Rafe mentioned that I sort of forgot about an air control circuit board that I'm going to use instead. I'm going to leverage the circuit board to my benefit. So let's get this e-printer on. Go with air control. So air control, pretty much what it does is it allows you to hook up active vents to do your intake or your outflow and inflow, I guess is the best way to put it. And that's something I want to do. But that means that I am going to significantly gut what's currently in the base, which means that the panic flood controls is going to change a little bit. A lot of those passive vents in the base are probably going to change as well. Just the nature of the change of design. So just bear with me, because a lot's going to happen this episode, I think. So the way air control works is you hook up intake and outflows, and you can set it on pressure, which all vents... Well, okay, so on pressure mode, all vents act as outflows. And on draft mode, you have intakes and outflows. And my farm over here is set up like draft mode. So I'm going to continue that trend and set my base up to draft mode. So we want 3 air control circuit boards. And before I really get down and dirty doing the air control, I should probably install the lockers. So what I'm going to temporarily do is put some baked potatoes away so I can free up some room. So for me to install the lockers, I need frames and sheets. And let's get these lockers in. So outside doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but we can add lockers in anytime there. So not an issue. And you know what? I'm going to take a second and put some stuff away, because I am to the gills here. Oh, and there's more lockers in there as well. I knew that. I didn't, but let's pretend I did. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I can't put anything away. I'm going to put my cable coils away. There. Now I have some space to be able to use my hands. Alright. So, locker on the bottom floor. Do we want one? That is a very fair question. I think this room is best left for pure atmospherics, even though it would be convenient to just have a locker like right here. I'm not sure what we would store in here, but let's go ahead and add a locker in anyway. Right where I had pointed out. Which means, is this part... Yeah, this is outside, isn't it? Now, the thing is, lockers need to be placed on, like, steel frames and the like, so... That would be right there. Yes. Well, alright. That's easy enough to do. This time, I'm just going to have to full smelt so that we don't have Martian air entering. Meaning it's airtight. My delicate Martian acrobatics. Interestingly enough, there's not even air in here. Didn't show that I had Martian air there. Alright, so that is... Let me just drop this stuff, because we're going to want to put the floor back when we're done. I don't want to block my door. My escape hatch door. That blocks it a little bit, but I didn't really design this space, honestly, with a lot of floor space in mind, so I'm just going to have to make do with where I can find good places for lockers. And that seems as good as any. Alright, so there's one locker there. Stores a whole lot of stuff. I mean, it stores up to 30, so it's not a bad amount of storage. I just don't know what we're going to put in an atmospherics room. Filters, maybe? Something like that. Alright, the rest of these lockers are going to be a little bit easier to place because I don't have to leave the base every time. Trying to make more inventory space by eating? Yes, eat my inventory. That was taking up room. Nope, almost opened that up. I suppose I could set like a motion sensor or something in here so that the vent goes on automatically. Not that it's all that necessary, it really isn't. So this room ought to have some good locker space. I think what I'll do is this cryo, it's going to go bio. Maybe I'll find another, oops. Maybe I'll find another good place for it, but for now it's definitely locker placement time. So I think 2 full-size lockers on either side of the door here would look majestic. Something like that. So let's drop these lockers and kill the floors. And this is, of course, a project that would be quite difficult and annoying and lengthy to do if the base was actually properly fully pressurized, because you can't just punch through floorboards willy-nilly in a in a pressurized base. Alright, make sure not to burn any cables, because I've done that in the past. Pretty avoidable damage. Alright, we do, however, have some cabling that might be in the way here. As you can see, there is a heavy cable there, and there's a bunch of light cables over there. So this is also going to be a project about rerouting cables, it seems. I just don't want to do any permanent damage. So this orange cable here, I can't really see what it's doing. I think one runs up to the light. Yeah, this one runs up to the light. The trouble is, and then this heavy cable. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to remove this. I smelted it, and then I'm going to remove it. Alright, we're going to reroute these. I don't know why I even bothered to construct them when I knew that they were going to be rerouted. Alright, so this heavy cable is avoiding that light there. The small blue cable over there is running. So this heavy cable here could just get bumped out. That actually wouldn't be that hard to do. And then it won't be intersecting where we want to construct anything. Oh, but I see. I can't, Alright, this is going to have to go for a bit of a crazy path here. Down and around. Because I can't cross the threshold of the door. Oh, you silly door. So, a little ugly, and obviously I'm now out of the heavy cables. So let me go get some additional heavy cables. Make sure that's fully closed. Another reason to use the manual, I mean, there's a lot of good reasons to use the manual doors with the crowbar, but a really good reason is so that you can't toggle the doors really, really quickly and end up in a flooding your base full of Martian air scenario. Now, luckily, when the base is fully pressurized, there will be an advantage because the base is a lot more... the base has a lot greater pressure than Mars. So generally speaking, in a breach situation, you would have base air go out and not Martian air come in. But that still doesn't mean I should be sloppy about my my base air execution. All right, there we go. That's all hooked up. As you can see, the lights miraculously turned back on. All right. Well, that was rerouted for one locker. You can see the hear the pain in my voice, right? All right, locker number 1. Put this stuff aside. Boom. Come on, close. All right, the second locker here. I'll probably have to punch some. Well, all right. So this orange cable can be rerouted, but it would have to go down. That I can do, and then this one has to go down as well. I can do that as well. So let me get all of my cables to be the same color. So this leads to the light. Yeah, this one's not too hard either. There. That no longer blocks it. And then this just needs to go up. And then connect. All right, that light's plugged back in. And then this one, all this needs to do is dip. Basically, I'm not trying to connect anything together. It might be entirely possible. Is that far? That might not be far enough. It might be entirely possible to just connect these two together, but I don't want to redesign how everything is laid out. I just want to make it room for the locker. As I've mentioned in the past, I could spend hours recabling everything to be more efficient and clean. I just don't think anyone wants to see that, because that'd be like watching Bob Ross clean his paintbrushes. No, maybe I'm not an artist like he is, but yeah, I think you understand the principle at least. Very boing. Alright, should be able to get a locker on the other side now. As you can see, nothing's blocking it. And another locker placed. The top floor lockers should be a little bit easier because there's not a lot of cables on the top floor that block anything. But that's, I shouldn't speak too soon because it's possible it is a nightmare. I don't know. All right, let's get these geometric walls down. Very nice, right? Very nice. Pulling up these frames.
Jetpack on.
And Mr. Cryotube. I have no clue where I want to put you. That, like, sticks out the window. Speaking of sticking out the window, one of the theories that Humpty Moo had for my furnace woes was that the... yeah, I don't know where to put that. That the problem with the furnace was more the fact that I was having issues... I could put the locker here. Let me see what that looks like underneath. With the chutes going outside... Oh yeah, that would be easy. I just need to punch these window walls out. So yeah, making sure that all of your chutes are included in a vacuum, because it's possible that the my volatils and all that I'm using in the little furnace that I've got going on, that they melt before they reach the furnace. That's almost certainly what's happening, because it's either not in a perfect vacuum scenario or something like that. Alright, so here's the last two that I need to make. Don't worry, I'm getting close to the actual atmospherics that I intended to do this episode. And if this episode runs a little long, so be it. Alright, there we go. Steel frame. Again, another project that would be, or another construction task that would be very difficult to do if I had fully vacuum sealed everything. Which is why I've been asking for multiple episodes now. If you have any ideas of things I need to do before I lock up the base with atmosphere, you need to let me know. Part of me doesn't really love that spot. Yeah. No, I'm not too... I no longer love that spot. I know, I just worked so hard, but seeing the locker there, it just sort of blocks the vent. It'd be funny to have floating lockers. Yeah, up here, clearly I need one for the hydroponics, but where it should be, let me call the elevator. Not sure. I could just have them in the middle of the room, like this. It would sort of ruin the aesthetics, for sure. I don't know how much storage I actually need, though. Because I could just have a singular mini locker or something. And the issue is, of course, the mini lockers store so insignificant amounts of stuff compared to the even double locker that it's kind of a waste of material. But now I'm sitting here and I need to make a decision. So I don't like these spots. I'm gonna pick somewhere else. That is my final answer. Gotta poo or get off the pot. You know the saying. Alright, so here, I've made a bad decision. I'm going to sully some of this base. Removing some farming so that I can get more pipes. I know, right? So the idea here is to put it the lockers. Oh, come on. I don't want to plant my wrench. My lockers here, just along the wall. Not perfect, but it will have to do. So, something like that. Because these passive vents, spoiler, are going to be obsolete soon. That does reduce the overall amount of farming that I can have, but kind of doesn't ruin the aesthetics of the room. So it's a bit of a compromise. Look at the mess I am making. Last two lockers. Okay, and tearing up the floor again. It's funny how much absolute trash I've generated just doing one little remodeling project. It is kind of a... Oh, this wasn't... Do I have composites there? Why would I have composites there? Oh, geometrics. Where did these composites come from? Oh, it came from... yeah, below. Okay. Yes. Now, let's get the composites back. That was these windows here that keep this airtight. But I can't put them until I get rid of the frames. Look at that frame jiggle. Jiggle frame. One window. I have to get to the other side here. Another window. I need plastics and I need, yeah, these stuff. Ah! Jetpack. Okay. Should be mostly cleaned up. Alright, not too bad. Not too bad at all. As I said, these past events are a thing of the past. This will make more sense soon. And then all of my hydroponic basins. I do need to finish off the pipes. As you can see, I sort of broke them and didn't put them back. So let me get outside and actually I didn't really need to vent that. Get outside and I suppose I could put the basins away. I might end up using them. The trays. The past events I probably won't end up using. We also have these other lockers, but I'm not going to worry about them. So these need to be painted water blue. That's purple. There we are.
Jetpack on.
I guess I still have my heavy cables. It sort of seems to me that the sound is... Oh, my volume's actually really high. I don't know. If it hasn't been coming through correctly to you all, yeah, big old shrug for me. Sorry to say, I need to tune my new environment a little bit better, don't I? Alright, so there is water leading to the basins now, or at least the pipe for the water. Let me get into the room. And just so it doesn't look so weird, drop a pipe here. Come on, let me drop a pipe. There. Obviously, it doesn't terminate anywhere. It just kind of floats. So this room's all set. We do block a little bit of the wall lights, but not enough to harm the light in the room. Because one thing is, when we're in this base, we're probably not going to be wearing our helmet, so we won't have the helmet light. Which means we're going to rely pretty heavily on... I could have a handheld light or something? I don't know. I'd have to figure it out, but yeah. There's definitely some gloomy parts of this base, for sure. Okay, so at this point, we've got the lockers in. Now it is time for retooling the atmospherics, which is a big and destructive task. that I wanted to get to. So these passive vents here are going bye-bye. The emergency pole vents. I'm going to have to... Okay, I already got the top floor ones. There'll be a lot of redundant systems here. That also means that these digital valves can go as well. I'm no longer going to use those. Like I said, a lot of destruction. So let me pull up the pipes first. I'll worry about the valves later. Alright, that's my digi valve. There's the pipes. Now, something like this I could leave in. It doesn't necessarily hurt to have it. It's just because I don't plan on utilizing those passive vents anymore, I figured just strip them out. And then I may actually end up, funny enough, building a redundant system, but only... I'm not sure about that. I'm still not quite sure. And the reason being is it's one of those nice-to-haves, but I don't really care to over-engineer everything, I guess is the point I'm trying to get to. All right, so now we are going to pull out the valves here. Come on, let me move around. And as you can see, my backpack and everything's full up. A lot of the stuff I'm just going to probably end up smelting. Just recycling it. So let me go do that. Passive vents 2. All of my air control I'm going to put away for now, just to free up some bag space. Copper, more reagent mix. Alright. I'm definitely polluting up the area. Alright, what I need next is a bunch of active vents. Iron, gold, copper. Copper, gold, iron. I need 6 of them. I thought I had one more thing to smelt. Suppose I don't. It's not flinging my vents everywhere. Alright, that's all the vents I need. Then funny enough, I actually need the frames and... Yeah. Let's go back here. I need these frames and sheets. Alright. That's all set. So, what I'm doing is I'm setting up active vents that act as draft and active vents that... active vents for the draft system. So that means outflow and intake, or inflow, outflow. Maybe I'll just call it inflow, outflow. So what I'm doing is where my old passive vents are, here, I'm going to replace them with active vents, because they're already hooked up to this, this purple pipe network. So it's perfect. I'm just going to utilize this purple pipe network. And that will make it a lot easier to get my atmospherics, my pressure set up. Why work hard when you can work smart? So let's do a little welding. Careful not to hit any cables. Fastest welder in the West I am. Alright, putting everything else away. So here's what this is going to look like. On the bottom floor here, we're going to get rid of these passive vents. Again, something I'll probably melt down at some point, or whatever, just recycle. And replace these with active vents. I already have the pipe network there. I mean, you know, I'm just utilizing it. All right, and then let's call this inflow inflow. I'll just call it inflow 1 or inflow vent 1. Inflow vent 2. That wasn't so hard. And then this is... Actually, that's my outflow. Yeah, I'm a dummy. What can I say? Alright, outflow vent 1 in outflow vent 2. Oops, sorry, labeler. And then this is going to be inflow vent 1. Yeah, I'm retooling my emergency system. Inflow vent 2. And actually, let's turn those off. Call the elevator down. So, this is where my atmosphere will come out to the base, and this is where it will flow back in. I sent this down so I could keep an eye on my CO2 pressure. For now, it's okay, so I'm not gonna stress it. So on this floor, same deal over here. Well, let me put that away instead of just throw it on the ground. Passive vents. Did I not collect the passive vents that I... Oh yeah, they're there. All right. And obviously these aren't wired up yet. Outflow vent 4 and outflow vent 3.
Jetpack on.
Inflow vent 4. Inflow vent 3. And I'm going to rename this gas sensor. This is going to be the air pressure gas sensor. Cool.
Jetpack on.
It's going smoothly. Two more passive vents that I no longer need. Outflow vent 5. Yeah, I hooked that up right. Okay. Outflow vent 6. Inflow vent 6. Inflow vent 5. Good. All of the vents are down and labeled. They are not, however, wired up. That's something I have to do. But first, let me go recover these frames. Where'd my other sheets go? I'll find them. I like dumped my frames and sheets somewhere. Like I do. So where'd I put them? Are they on the bottom floor? I'll happen upon them sooner or later. There's so many funny little nooks. Here they are. Nooks and crannies in this base. Alright, so now we have 6 new active vents. They are not wired up yet. But taking a look at the power consumption, because this is going to be another issue. Our Atmo battery is almost at max usage. It's 3.9 kilowatts, which means I really don't want to hook up the air pressure to that system. So I'm going to hook up air pressure to the HAC power usage, to the HAC battery, because it has more capacity. I don't want to hit the 5 kilowatt because that's when things burn out and things go wrong. So, yes, let me go outside, empty out some of my pockets that I have so much stuff in.
Jetpack on.
Because I've got a bunch of passive vents that I no longer need. And then, come on. The centrifuge. Yeah, maybe that's it. That can't be. Well, whatever. I wasn't really here to recover stuff. Blue paint yet again. This time for my cables. Putting the other cables away. I'll just hold on to my blue paint. My can's about to be empty. Anyway. Now the airlock control. I'll take one for now. I don't really need them all just yet. And back into the base I go. Alright, first thing, this emergency flood flush control, you're going to be a little bit different. In fact, you're eventually going to be the airlock control, so we'll put that in there and leave the glass on the ground. I like how that giant piece of glass somehow fits in there. Alright, so let's go around and wire this up. So that means that the vents here are going to switch from green to blue, which means rewiring it a bit. I'm going to have a lot of extra cables, aren't I? And this is just because of power consumption in the base. That's pretty much the only reason. I would want to have it on the atmospherics, but I can't. It's too big of a project to rewire all of atmospherics to support the increased amount of wattage that it would require. That's that would be a lot of work. And obviously I'm cleaning up, no, not junction. A lot of the cabling that used to lead somewhere that isn't going anywhere anymore. Which is also probably a good thing. We ideally want less hooked into vitals. I'm about to fill up an entire stack of cables. We want less hooked into vitals because, you know, the more that's hooked into vitals, the more likely that vitals will lose significant power and die. might be an over-exaggeration, but you know what I mean. We don't want everything hooked into vitals, because no bueno. So this... Yeah. All changing networks. Yes, it is a big overhaul. Oh, darn it. A big overhaul project. And I am making a mess of this, aren't I? Oh, good. I have... Okay, sit. No, I'll find you later. Okay, there it goes. Got to put this orange piece back, but I just so happen to have orange cables in my inventory. Alright, I'm actually going to leave that there because I am running out of space for all these green cables I'm pulling up. We had the Vitals network like a neural network highway everywhere in the base, and now we're pulling it all up because we no longer need to connect all the emergency valves to Vitals. They're all a product of Atmospherics. All right. Which means then all the cables I'm currently cutting, I'm sort of due to replace a little bit. Oh, is this entire run? Yeah, this entire run can be stripped out. Yeah, you know what I was saying about how watching me do Atmospherics could be boring? Yeah, sorry. Or watching me rewire everything could be boring. That somehow became what's going on. We'll leave that little alarm system plugged in. I don't need to pull that up just yet. Okie doke. So these inflow and outflows need to be hooked up to blue, is the long and short of it. So I will try to take the shortest path to blue, realizing that I am at the moment very hungry in game. All right, this one's easy to do. That one's wired on. This one going to be extraordinarily easy to do. The HAC network is just right there for the taking. Okay, over here. Does this actually wire? Oh, it must. Yeah, okay. Well, this is going to be pretty easy to do as well. And this, of course, is our air pressure sensor. That we will use as well. Alright, so this cable here needs to avoid these pipes because that's where my gas mixers are going to go. I don't want to add a bunch of stuff in now and then have to strip it up later. Alright. So I have a bunch of cables on the bottom floor. So now all of these vents can toggle on and off. They're all interconnected. Perfect. That's what we wanted. Up a floor. Let's go. Oh, we also haven't plugged in any of these benches. Well, whatever. I could do that later. So now for this room, we do have, we got a bunch of options nearby to wire this in. I don't need to make it look pretty, it just needs to work. kind of time am I running? Oh, yeah. All right. I'll have it be a full hour episode, I suppose. What is this? Oh, these are the coolers and heaters. Okay. I was curious why I had blue cables here, but yeah, that makes total sense. Oh, I could just... Oh, my goodness. There's a cable right next to it. Perfect. So easy. Alright, there's the floor here. And then, of course, we have the other two vents over here. Seems to be a lot of good cabling candidates. There's that one. Maybe floor 2 sensor is what I'm going to base my air pressure off of and not floor 1 sensor. Because floor 2 sensor is kind of in the middle of everything. Well, floor 2 sensor was actually the temperature sensor, so I'm going to leave it and use floor 1. So those two are plugged in. And let me just confirm my floor 2 sensor here. So this temp reader reads floor 2 gas sensor. So I'm just going to rename this the temperature sensor, because that's essentially what it's doing. Floor 2 temp sensor. That means the floor 3 sensor is not going to have a purpose soon. Alright, so speaking of floor 3, oh, these vents are right here, so I might as well plug these in too. Let me get my wire cutters. Nearest blue cable is right here. Not terrible. I thought this was going to be worse. But luckily the Atmo, or the HAC network, because of my heaters and coolers, were running pretty close to where I need them to be. So that's the last is out here. My inflow, so I need blue out this way. Blue reaches about here. So this will be a slightly longer run. And then the consoles themselves also need to be wired up. Have it snake around a little bit differently because orange runs into the way. So that's that one plugged in. Because I'm sitting right here and staring at this console, I might as well plug this console in too, because we'll have to do that in the end. Alright, I am running a little low on cables, so let me just get some more. Boom. Alright, this console here also needs to get plugged in. Closest blue is probably just above it. And then this vent needs to get plugged in as well. Probably closest is just below it. All right, now I believe that all of the vents are hooked up to the HAC network. Not all the pipes, obviously, as you can see. Some of these pipes terminate, like, right there. A lot of these pipes could make a lot more logical attack to the vents as well. That's something I could do. But the last console down here is also not plugged into blue. So let's get that plugged in as well. Oh, there's a light there. That's going to restrict. This cable's going to snick around. All sorts of weird.
Critical.
Yeah, I know I'm hungry. You don't have to remind me. Oh, well, it's going to give me constant audible warnings. I guess I'll go eat. Alright, you win, game, you win. Stop trying to tell me I'm dying.
Jetpack on.
I also need to get a some plumbing pipe stuff. Look at how slow I'm eating that. Alright, done warning me? Thank you. Alright, so I actually have all my pipes on me. Alright, let's get back in there. And pipe up the things that weren't connected. Oh boy, I was flooding, yep, in my hunger haste, flooding the base full of Martian air. That's fine, because right now we're just vacuuming it all out, so it's not that big of a deal. But, shame on me, right? Alright, so inflow, I'm going to check each inflow, making sure it makes sense. So now I won't have passive vents, which means that this vent here is totally fine. Not an issue at all. Also, I don't have passive vents. I can complete that circuit. The pipe. That was to prevent the... Okay, yeah, obviously there's a lot more... A run that makes a lot more sense here. That was so that the passive flood vents wouldn't... Actually, I don't know why I did that. Wouldn't leak out the intake air, but then I re-changed the intakes. Come on, a junction. There we go. Man, that pipe could not have fallen any further, could it? All the way down. Let me put some of these pipes away. All right, let's take a look. I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. Obviously, a ton of this could be cleaned up because look at this, like total nonsense, and I know it. It's just we've had the pipe networks evolve over time. And through evolution, and this is true of, I guess, suppose, real evolution, a lot of trash emerges. Because this run is a lot more logical than what I had going on before. What I had going on before was to keep, to allow for valves to be placed. So there was a reason for it, but... Alright, this floor is not that bad. This floor isn't a dire offender. Alright, there we go. I'm just about running out of time, but I did want to show you what is going to happen eventually. So the way this will work is the air control here. Ta-da! Shows an error because I don't have my data disk in it. Alright, so if I toggle inflow, I should get all 6 vents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if I search for outflow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I search for pressure. Boom. Right now, it's blinking because it's offline mode. but eventually I'll turn it on. I just need to make sure that the base sucks up all of whatever is in here. And there's a teeny little bit of X, which means... Well, actually, it means that setting this up, I just locked myself out of the controls. I can't manually control these vents anymore. So if I wanted to vacuum out this base, I would actually need to undo this. But that's basically all of the Atmos setup for pressure, which is pretty straightforward. So let me go fix that. What do we want to do? We want to... Okay, let me... Oh, it's still locked. Fine. Fine. Let me... what I want to do is end this episode with me starting to vacuum out everything. So, there's pressure, draft, and offline mode, and I'm going to have it be offline. So the sensor you can keep. Inflow, I want to remove because I need to manually control it. And let's go to every floor to go do this real quick. So that the base becomes nice vacuum sealed. Now, if I left it on just by itself long enough, it would become a vacuum base again because our maintenance bay vents are on, and eventually the maintenance bay vents that are I know I'm introducing some nitrogen, but the maintenance bay vents that are on here would eventually suck out all the air in the base, but having 6 more going definitely speeds up the process. So guys, that's all the time I have for this incredibly long episode. I hope you've appreciated it. Thank you, Rafe, for your tips about the air control. It will make my life a little bit easier. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you all later. Thanks for watching. Adios.